take on the world. We're gonna take on the world. Standing up tall, we gotta make it our own. No waiting around. Winners would never look down. No one can stop us, we got it. The future is right in our hands. Give it 100%. We gonna take on the world. Yeah, we gotta move. Speaking the truth. Yeah, paying our dues. We making the news. Yeah, we hitting the roof. No, we don't wanna lose. Climbing and shaking the walls. We gotta break all the rules.
All right.
We are live. All right, guys. Welcome to the Third Eye Truth Theorem podcast. Once again, this is episode 12. What date is it again?
November
3rd of November.
Yeah.
And time is flying by, guys. Another special guest tonight. Another one of my favorite bands, Czars. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Joe Hill. Welcome, Joe Hill. We got Carl Hess,
Sidekick.
Tim Spitali from the band Fusion.
Hello.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys decided to make it happen. It was a process. I talked to you, Carl, a while back, maybe a month or so like that back.
Yep.
To get you guys on and see if you guys will come on. I'm glad you guys.
I'm always up for this kind of thing.
Yeah, good deal,
I
man.
got a kick out of it. So
Tim, good to see you again, brother.
Yes. How you been?
Not bad, man. Not bad at all. It's good to have you guys on. Like I said, I said, this is our 12th episode, and we're going to keep going until we get to that 100 plateau.
We should have waited for the 13th
Damn,
episode,
that'd be awesome.
Carl. You know.
oh,
You guys got a thing with 13?
lucky 13.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's all right. Yeah.
All right, guys. So what have you guys been up to? I mean, give us a little backstory on how you guys became Fusion, or just actually your musical background. How about that? Start with.
Musical background. Well, how much time do we have?
We kept in it.
Anytime you want.
Go for it.
How much time do you have?
You got more musical background than I do. Why don't you start?
Because it'll take half the show. I don't know. All right. I started playing guitar when I was 13.
Yeah.
Okay. Friday I'll be 63.
Wow, really? You look good for your age.
Thank you.
It does.
It's
It's the hair.
Just the hair. Yeah.
healthy living.
Shit's
I think I've pickled myself to the point now where
He's going for the
I'm
Keith
I'm
Richards.
immortal. Yeah, I can't die anymore.
going for the Keith Richards.
I've taken enough drugs and alcohol to rid myself of anything that's gonna do me in. Yeah, so I started playing then, and I started playing in bands maybe 77.
Yeah.
I was in I think the first band I was in that actually played somewhere. We opened for White Summer at the House of David.
Wow.
Right on the big stage, and
Yeah.
they still had the beer garden and all that. And Frenzy actually played there a couple times, like 79, 80, something like that. So I played down there on the bandstand 3 times, I think. 2 different bands.
Yeah.
And I just, progressed through I lived through the 80s. Right.
Was that a terrible time for you,
Well,
or for bands in general?
Well, not really. I mean, it was a boom time for most bands, those were the White House days,
I remember the White House.
Yeah. And
That was in Niles, right? Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Niles.
Yep.
It was.
Was, yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, 80
building's still there, isn't it?
Yeah, building's
the
still there.
building's still there, but it's just rotting because nobody can make it work. The guy that originally owned it, Ron Heidi, he eventually just retired. You know, he was also when it got up toward the end of the 80s, he kind of they were down to 2 nights then, and early on in the late 70s and early 80s, you'd be doing 4 nights. It was usually Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And by the time it got up toward the 90s, it was mostly 1 night, 2 if you were lucky. And he just wasn't pulling it like he used to. And so he said, well, I've been running this for 2 decades and, time for me to retire.
Right.
He was a long haul trucker is what he was.
Yeah.
Part-time. So he had his wife and his daughter would take care of the club during the week, and then he'd be back for whatever the weekend days were and work it and take care of the business in. But I think he's still alive. I saw Dave Zane had put a picture up on Facebook with him somewhere, but I think he's still kicking. I thought he was old then, but in the 80s, but he's obviously still making it. So I went through several bands, throughout the late 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And I got up to probably the last band I was in probably was in 90. I was with a band. They were based down it was called Tantrum. And they were based down in Hobart, Indiana. And I was still working at the cook plant at that point because, you got to have money.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. I understand that.
Being a musician is generally pretty much a non-money job, So I actually quit. I just quit gigging for a long time. Then we came up on, I think, 2002, we had a 20-year Frenzy reunion. So that was the first time I had played out anywhere in 10 years. Like I just quit, In the meantime, I finally decided that I wanted to learn how to make records. So I went to an engineering school and started working for a guy. And he still runs a studio in Climax, Michigan.
That's a funny name. Climax, Michigan.
Well, you drive by it every time. If you're on I-94 and you're going to Detroit, you see
the sign.
Climax 1 mile. It gets better. The guy that owns its name is Jim Cummings.
It's even better.
And I went and worked for him. I considered him my engineering mentor.
Yeah.
And I learned I think I worked for him up there like 6.5 years, and I did hundreds of hours of sessions, just tons. I learned how to make records, so at least I got that. In the 80s, we all had these little Tascam Porta Studio things with cassette-based 4-track recorders, right? And we could never figure out why our recordings didn't sound like a record, right?
It was definitely different.
Well, yeah, but that was the most affordable thing out there at that point for your home.
Yeah.
Thing. Computers were way I mean, they
Later
came up
on.
with Pro Tools till what, the late 90s, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
When it opened it up for everybody to be able to do pro level recording at home in their basement or whatever, you know. But the sound stage and now in Climax there, he's a full blown commercial studio, you know,
Okay.
old school analog,
Yeah.
2-inch 24 track deck. When I started there, we were still on tape, actually. Big, huge console, you know, nice room, control room, ISO boost, everything. I go up there off and on. I went and worked a session for him a couple weeks ago. You know, we remain good friends,
Okay.
which is, well, you know, it's hard to do that sometimes with former employees.
Right.
But he still calls me for different stuff, and I've taken people up there too, and to record in that studio this year. Actually, I took Jenna Mamina and David Lamb up there.
Well, and Jim came down and did a couple songs at Czars with us that few years.
Yeah, that's because
Great musician. You know?
oh yeah, he's just a fabulous player. I took her up there because she had this David Lamb.
Just to throw this out there, Jim, when you're ready to get rid of that P bass, give me a call.
There you go.
He's got a 62 P bass, which is just,
In prime condition.
Oh yeah,
it's nice. Plays
sounds
very nice.
like it sounds like God. All you do is just plug it straight into the console, and it's like, we don't need to do nothing to that. You know? So I taken her up there because he's the only place around here that I knew of that has a grand piano, right?
Yeah.
A real grand piano, not a plastic.
So do you play piano by any chance?
No, I don't.
No.
Well, I know where middle C is.
That's about it.
Shit, I don't know where that's at.
Don't either.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Dude, that
go.
would suck.
I can go that, and I can make like a couple chord shapes, and you know.
Right.
But I'm not inclined to that, really. I've always thought I've had my hands full enough trying to play guitar rather than I don't need to learn how to play keys too, you know. And
Is that the only thing you know how to play is the guitar?
well, I play bass on my demos, but I would never consider myself to be a bassist.
Kind of like I would never consider myself to be a guitar player. Every time I listen to him play, I go, yeah, I just need to put that away.
Dude, I mean,
You just don't do it?
if you guys don't know about
do play guitar.
Karl,
You-
Karl is
Not
by far one of the best I've heard. I mean, especially in this area, this guy gets down. I'll tell you what, he holds nothing back. He can do just about everything.
It's just dogged perseverance is all it is. You know, if you do it for so many years, you're gonna improve, and if you don't, then you should
Just give it up.
you know.
Well, like I said, I've seen you guys play at Czars. When you guys play at Czars, you guys kill it. I mean, I enjoy listening to you guys all the time. I mean, anytime you guys come down, or when you used to come down when Czars was open, it was a treat. It was definitely a treat. I enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we always have.
We enjoy it.
Well, I know you
yeah,
do. I
yeah.
mean, this.
I mean, that's
And Czars has always treated us, very,
Right.
very well. It's our hometown,
Exactly.
it's nice, and of course, Gary Callender. Best
Big shout out to
engineer
Gary
in-
Callender.
Yeah, best
He was one of
engineer
my-
in Southwest Michigan.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he actually was our sound man in the first really good band that I was in.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
So he goes way back there.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on the road with us for years and years.
Good old Gary.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that about Gary.
I didn't either.
Way back in the starvation days, so
Actually-
78 through 82.
Yeah.
Damn, he did it-
Technically,
he
the
did that
first
long?
fusion gig we did, Dave Mackey was still on sound.
Ah, the great Dave Mack.
I wasn't in it
Yes.
though.
You weren't in it at that time.
That's right.
So how long has
I wasn't.
Fusion been around?
2008 is when I got in it.
Yeah,
2008.
2007 is actually about when it started.
So it was the original guitar player.
The original lineup was myself, Troy Gillum.
Yeah.
And Sharon Kramer was lead vocals.
Oh,
She was doing the lead vocals on that. The very first practice I went to, there was some guy on keyboards. I don't even know his name.
wow, there's a keyboard player.
There-
so
there
there
was-
was like more than just three of you.
I
Yeah,
don't
it
even, I
started
don't
out
even
as a-
remember that.
It started out as this was before you. I mean,
Yeah, this is before I got involved with it.
and then obviously Larry Freeman on guitar.
Yeah.
And the first gig we did down at Czars, we actually opened up for Gunshy,
Oh, getting gun shy. Yeah.
which goes back
Man.
because I've got long history. I was in a band with Tony for a while, and
And I was in a band with
with
Terry.
Terry, yeah, my brother was Terry's roommate for a while. So,
sorry.
like I said, there's a lot of
in the mid 80s. I
mixing of musicians here.
was in a band with Terry and Jeff, his brother, deceased brother. In what was that, like 86, 87?
Yeah,
something
because
like
he
that.
took my place in that. Jeff
Right.
did.
Yeah,
I started out playing when it was you and
Dan Hart.
Dan Hart. And,
Which band was that?
it was prior to Canine. What did
Rage.
Rage?
Rage.
That's right.
So do you guys make your own music?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a full CD out, and we started in the studio for a second CD, and then the pandemic hit, and we just everything kind
Yeah,
of got put on hold.
we've got 5 songs musically done and not mixed, and the vocals aren't done on them yet.
So how did you guys survive the pandemic?
A lot of drinking, I think, and
I think a lot of people did that.
no, I took the time, as a bass player, I took the time to learn 6-string guitar more. We weren't gigging out, we weren't playing, so I had a lot more free time at home, and I just started playing 6-string a lot more.
Wow.
And actually bought a nice 12-string, which I really like, acoustic. That just to sing and play myself, because I've always considered myself more of a singer than a bass player. I do bass just because it's.
You can hit those high notes. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you. I mean, I enjoy singing, and back when Tony Granlund and I was in a band, that's all I was. I was the lead singer. He was the bass player.
So
Honestly.
you were the front man.
Back when I had hair.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Shit, you had
I've
hair?
I've still got 810s from when we were in that Rage band.
Yeah, I was several pounds lighter, and I had hair.
Yeah, he had long hair and a big mustache.
For a
Going
while, I
on,
did have
yeah.
a mustache. Yeah.
Wow.
Had to cut the
And
mustache.
at that point, I had short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, really,
Say it ain't so.
Really
Wow,
short.
look at that.
Carl had a fro.
Certified badass.
Yeah.
Had to use it again.
That's excellent. The only reason I've gone through different periods in my life where I've cut my hair and had short hair. The only reason I've ever cut my hair was to get a regular job.
I can kind of see that though.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
no
I
shit.
can see that.
I'd
though.
go, well, I got to get a job. And I'd look at my hair and I'd go, nobody's going to fucking hire me. I go get my hair all cut off, go get a job. Then I just start growing it again because I figured they couldn't fire me.
Right.
Yeah,
for
man, I give you that.
growing it out. I did every job legitimate job that I've ever had. That's actually what I did.
See, I got hired in. My first boss in heating and air conditioning had hair as long as I did. So it's like, oh, I don't have to cut my hair.
Well, when I worked with you,
Just the mustache.
with him,
Yeah.
Was my hair long then? I think it
Uh,
was fairly.
I'm not sure. You're asking me to remember that
Yeah,
far back?
well, yeah, that's a long time.
I can't remember what I looked like
but
back then.
after I worked that job, I went to work out at the nuke plant. So I shaved my hair off, butch cut, and to get a job there. Very difficult, actually, if you ever worked in that,
Yeah.
in that industry.
Yeah.
Troy still
Definitely.
does it.
Oh yeah.
I
don't know how
everything's controlled by the federal government.
Troy
there's nights we play a gig and Troy is literally going to work the next day at like 6 a.m.
Oh,
And I'm like,
oh yeah,
that guy's a monster.
I did it when I worked at the cook
Hey, I
plant
used
in
to
the
be able
80s.
to do that when I was younger. Nowadays, I'm not
Yeah.
so sure. I need my beauty rest,
So you
Yeah.
guys didn't do any gigs during the pandemic at all, though?
We have done 3 shows
3 shows.
Seriously.
since the pandemic started. We've
Really?
only done 3. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but we
at the
did-
start of the pandemic, and obviously everything got shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then as they started to do a little bit more outside stuff, we kind of felt, hey, there's a lot of musicians out there that this is how they make their living.
Right.
We don't need to do this to survive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
you had a heart.
and it's like, let those musicians get those few
Yeah.
gigs that are out there, that rely on that income,
Right.
to do that. And,
Let's see if they get infected.
let's see if they die first,
Yeah, right.
Cold-blooded.
Well, hey, I mean, honestly, that's what I thought about. That's what I thought about the vaccine at first. I thought, well, let's let a couple 100,000 people get it first and see what it does to them before I go get it. And
Right.
obviously, it turned out fine for the majority. So, I wasn't really worried about it. My wife's immunocompromised, so she obviously needed to get it, and if she's going to get it, obviously I'm getting it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and to me, even if we needed the money from those gigs that we passed on during the pandemic, do you really, the way I thought about it was, well, do you really want to risk your life or risk contracting that virus for
$100,
$100 or something?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
You know,
It's not worth it.
yeah.
I get it.
mean, you really, when you think about it, do I want to get in the hospital for that? No.
So you guys don't miss playing?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hell, a lot. Yeah.
I mean, once the vaccine was out and that, we weren't even practicing. And Troy was working out of town at the time.
Yeah.
That it all happened, so we hadn't been practicing for a while. So yeah, even just getting together and practicing was like, oh, this feels so good.
Right.
You know,
It's just
when we finally got back and started practicing and you kind of forget how awesome it feels, when you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can imagine how you guys, after not playing for a certain amount of time, you guys get back together and just like, hey, let's do something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
Let's
kind of
play a
like
little
their
bit.
reunion gigs,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they
Yeah.
hadn't played together in 10 years. You get together, couple practices, and you play a show, and it's like, wow. And when we get back together and practice, the three of us.
I hated those.
Yeah.
things.
Well, all right.
Awful.
It's not as bad. Like when the three of us haven't practiced in a while,
Sorry, but
we get back together and it's like everything just clicks like we never even stopped playing. It's like, wow, we didn't even need to practice that one.
And we did do at the very end of August, we did a wedding.
Yep.
Yeah.
That we've been playing this party for these people for like what, 6 years?
Yeah. Somewhere
And
around there.
way over in mid Michigan.
PK
Was
is
it close climax?
close to climax. Yeah.
No, north
North
of climax.
Oh, shit. Now we're going to the hills.
What is that called? Fowlerville?
Fowlerville. It's
Fowlerville,
PK's sister.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Been there. Good parties.
Well, she got married this year.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
So
Really?
so we hadn't practiced.
She's always nice to
Troy was at that point. Was he in Connecticut or was it Gulf Shores?
Who knows? He was out of town somewhere.
Yeah, I think he was in Connecticut. He flew back, and we hadn't practiced for 2 months. And, and we just went and did that gig, and it was just killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just felt so good, to
Get out there.
blast it out again, and I'm just like, wow, I miss this so fucking bad.
Karl, who's your inspirations as far as being a guitarist? Who inspires you the most?
All right, I'm gonna lay a theory out for you.
Okay.
I think that as far back as when you're in the womb, whatever is surrounding you musically is sinking in there. And you don't really know how to decide, what's good and what's bad until, when did you start realizing, when you're 5 or 6 years old, you don't know the difference between what you're listening to on the radio and who's good and who sucks.
Yeah,
whatever.
I would say 5, 6, 7. Something.
Yeah, you're not old enough to form an opinion yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my dad was a music teacher. Not at the point when I was born. I mean, he had quit teaching, and he grew up in the jazz age. So even before I was born, I was surrounded by Miles Davis, Coltrane,
Man.
Gil Evans,
Man.
all the heaviest from the 50s to
musicians.
60s, the heaviest jazz stuff.
Very good musicians.
And he was a horn guy, so obviously he was he never would have put up for a minute with me learning to play guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was like in, I don't know, like 4th grade or 5th grade or something, he kind of tried to get me to play cornet, and quickly realized that I really wasn't into it. So he kind of gave up on trying to push that aspect of it on me. The young employees that he had working for him at the time turned him on to a lot of late 60s, early 70s music. And he being drawn to the horn thing, Chicago was like the band, and he actually bought those records, so I'd have to say, probably my first guitar hero was Terry Kath.
Not bad. I like that.
And that was the second concert I ever went to in like 70, I want to say 73 3, Chicago at the ACC.
Yeah.
First one I saw was the Fifth Dimension at the ACC.
I was just being born.
You're just
73.
being born.
Wasn't even
Well,
born
I
yet.
was
But
young.
wasn't born yet, but I
young-
knew what the fifth dimension is, though.
Young
Yeah,
At
lad.
least I know that.
The Age of Aquarius. Don't you-
Yep.
Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo, right? You don't remember that?
I do say
One
Chicago.
less bell to answer.
I do say Chicago is a great band, though. They are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Their horn
I
sections
think
are
at
phenomenal.
that time they were a force of nature, right? And they were one of the first ones that came up with that combination of rock and heavy rock guitar
Yeah, close to it.
mixed
Yeah.
up with horns. There was another one, Chase. Anybody remember that band?
No.
No, I don't know that.
The leader was a guy named Bill Chase, and they were kind of like Chicago. They had a couple radio hits, and then their plane crashed and killed them all.
Oh, that's
So
unfortunate.
they had
Oh,
one.
shit.
They had
Yeah, way to-
one record out, and so we had that, and I think the first record album that I bought was the Guess Who. Yeah,
That's a good band.
yeah. Burton Cummings.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think the first
great
first
stuff.
actual record that I paid for with my own money was Kiss Alive 2.
Wow, that's
Kiss?
way,
Yeah.
so wait. See, I didn't even listen to Kiss until I got in Frenzy, and John and all those guys from Lakeshore. Well, they were a couple years younger than me, so I had never even heard a Kiss record before, and they're playing like Cold Gin and Strutter and Rock and Roll All Night. You know, they got half their set list is like Kiss songs, and I'm going, what is this shit? You know.
It's kind of like everybody playing AC/DC songs back in the day. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, so simple to play musically,
Yeah.
but
And that's why all
Look
bar
how
bands wanted to
famous
play it, was
and big.
because
Yeah.
it was so easy. You know, you could know three cowboy chords and play almost every AC/DC song.
What about you? What expired you?
I was a little bit of a later blooming musician.
Blooming musician.
My best friend in high school was a guitar player, and he was like, you know, I'd be hanging out with him and whatnot, and he's like, "Hey, let's start a band." you played, you know, I took guitar lessons in the 5th grade, you know, like 6 maybe, I don't know. And he's like, "You had guitar lessons. I've got a bass. You can be the bass player." And he hands me a bass, you know, set me up with everything, you know, and it was just something fun to do after school. You know, it was like, all right, you know, and we'd just go hang out, and, you know, I didn't know nothing. I mean, I knew nothing. And he got me to play, you know, bass, and we just had fun, and it just, you know, it just snowballed from that point. But my grandfather was a musician, and on my dad's side, and my grandmother on my mom's side was, you know, was also a very talented musician. Both, you know, so I've got musical history in my family, but nobody else in any of the other. My brother was a good musician, you know, school band musician, but never had the passion to pursue anything, you know.
Beyond that, the band, high school band thing.
Exactly. You know, oh, here's an instrument you're going to play because
Right.
it's required. And, you know, he excelled in it and did great. And, you know, he knows how to read music, all that kind of stuff, but he just never had the passion to play, you know? So yeah, it wasn't until my high school years to where I actually got into music and enjoyed listening to it and started venturing out.
Yeah.
And hey, let's play this song and let's learn this one and that. And, you know, and obviously I was a terrible bass player at that time.
How bad were you?
I was really,
Shit, he
really
got thrown
bad.
into it. The guy said, "Here, play this."
Exactly.
Let me see you.
It would be like me handing you a
Yeah,
bass right
yeah,
now.
I'd
and
be
saying,
horrible at
Let's
it.
go play
Or
a song.
playing
Right.
the grand
Yeah.
piano. Here's the piano. Start playing.
See,
Shit, I could find that.
couldn't find it anywhere.
But after high school, I met a couple guys, that were very talented
Yeah.
guitar players. And, I became friends with one of them, and he's like, "Oh, you play bass?" He says, it would be really impressive if you just do like I did. Just take this thing home, lock yourself in your room every night and, and just dedicate yourself to this and come back in 2 weeks and blow our mind, and so I did. I mean, I disappeared for like 2 weeks, and it was like, that's
Did you
all
blow
I
their
did.
mind?
Oh yeah, I came back and they were like,
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Did you blow their mind?
they were blown away, and it's like, wow, you went from here to here, in 2 weeks. All right, yeah, let's do some jamming, let's have some fun, and so I joined up, with them and played, and it's funny. He said the first gig that you played was warming up with White Summer. That was actually one of the first shows that we had done. Was a private party where we were the warm-up band for White Summer as well.
Yeah, Jimmy Watkins is older than us.
Oh yeah,
Who's
he
older than me?
he still rocks it though.
Yeah.
I just saw him
I've
over
known
the
him-
summer.
I've known him
Yep.
forever.
I know his son, so yeah.
Yep.
Adam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the son.
Oh,
Yeah, he
seriously?
sat in with us
Not-
before a couple times.
No, when you said that name, okay, you said
Adam.
Jimmy. I didn't think of James Watkins.
Yeah.
Okay,
James.
makes sense now.
Okay. Well, we always I think he's graduated to James by now. He's
Yeah.
Not too many people call me Timmy still, so
right. Yeah, I wouldn't think. The way it happened with me was my bio dad died when I was 13.
Yeah.
So my mom remarried within the year, kind of had to, and I gained 2 sisters and a brother. So the older sister was dating this guy, and we lived over in Hampton and Benton Harbor there at that point.
Yeah.
And so I was in 7th grade. I went to Fairplain Junior High for 2 years there. And he was into guitars. Every week he'd come over with a different guitar. Hey, look what I picked up. These cheap Chisco Del Reys and shit that you bought at Goldblatt's. Those ones. A lot of people started.
Forgot about
on
that
those.
place.
Totally
forgot about that place.
A lot of people started on those things. So I bought 2 or 3 different guitars from him, and I think the summer when I was 13 there, I just I locked myself down in the basement and that's all I did was.
You did a 2-week thing too, where you just
Oh no, I
locked
did.
yourself
I
in a
did like
basement?
a 4-month thing, where
Yeah.
I just didn't leave the basement. I had a little bed down there and my little turntable, because you learned everything by the needle drop then.
Yeah.
It was like
yeah.
over and over and over and over and over again. So you'd ruin every record that you had by the time you learned the song. So that's how I learned how to play. It was just it probably saved me, at that point.
Right.
And then and my cousin also he knew how to play a little bit too, and he showed me some stuff, and Dave showed me some stuff, a couple chords, and I went over to some place over in Benton Harbor and took a couple lessons. Some older woman wanted me to play green sleeves or something, you know, and I'm like, I'm already playing Purple Haze, you know, that would be regressing.
Yeah, right.
I'm like I've already got that, you know, so I don't need to go on, carry on with this. Later on, I did go out to LMC after I graduated high school. I went to LMC for a year, and I took music theory and harmony, and I can't say that it did me much good. It did really, though. I mean,
It pointed you in the right direction.
well, I think about it a lot more now than I ever did when I was young. We never we wanted to be in bands that were on stage running around, and nobody was reading off sheet music, right? You know,
Yeah.
We wanted to be like the bands that we'd go see in concert, you know, where shit's blowing up and they're running all over, and you know, I mean, we never wanted to be that guy that was sitting in a chair, you know, reading the sheet music, playing at the Holiday Inn or whatever. You know, that was never our idea of what we wanted.
You're not a lounge singer.
Yeah, we never, in our wildest dreams, wanted to do anything that resembled that. You know,
What's the craziest shit you guys ever seen?
I was just about to ask that question.
Thank God. Hey,
Jeez,
two great minds think alike.
man, my sidekick killed.
Great minds think alike.
Why don't you start?
Oh,
I got a couple of good ones.
You mean with fusion or
Well,
just
just
in general?
In general.
Well, whenever you started or whatever.
Yeah, the craziest thing you ever seen on stage or happen or
I was singing. I was lead singer, playing at the White House on a Halloween night, and I remember seeing these girls come in, you know, dressed pretty slim. Let's put it that way.
All right.
Scantily attired? Or are you insinuating that?
I believe they just came from a lingerie party, is what I'm guessing. And
That's what they were. Okay.
And-
Makes
and
sense now.
and it was still there. So, you know, that's what they wore to the bar.
only on Halloween.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, these young girls, you know, I was pretty young at the time, and we were playing there, and I won't name names of who the guitar player was, but obviously, you know, as the lead singer, I'm looking out a little more.
Yeah.
You know, he's playing his guitar. He didn't notice them coming in. And I think he was underage at the time. You know, I think he was probably only about 15, maybe 16.
Yeah.
You know, and they sat down at a table. They got up to dance, and it was right before one of his solos. So he's like playing along, and all of a sudden, you know, he hits that last chord and looks up for a second, you know, because there's that pause right before he goes into the solo, and his mouth drops to the floor when he saw him. And there was a huge pause before that solo started.
He just lost
That,
it.
yeah, he did. That was very funny. That was hilarious. That's a memorable moment in band playing stuff. You know, the other crazy story I would have to say is when we warmed up with Quiet Riot.
Oh, that was a
nightmare.
bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I was rare moments of explosive anger, which is he's a really low key guy.
Yeah.
And that
Explosive
was
anger.
Oh yeah.
explosive anger. Yes.
Well, it was
because they cut us off.
Yeah.
it was coupled by a lot of rum.
A lot of rum.
Well, yeah, we had to sit around all damn day in the roasting fucking sun, drink. So we're drinking all day long. right? And we had the slot that was supposed to be right before Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
And they didn't have enough time left. So we had just enough time. We got our shit up there and started to play one song, and they cut us off, puller.
After one
Pulled the-
song?
Yeah, I think it was like
The
that.
Quiet Riot's, I believe their tour manager or whatever came up and said, "You guys got one song," and we're like, "What?"
Were you planning on playing
Really?
like a whole set or
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
we
supposed
had
to
a
get like a
45
yeah,
set. Yeah.
45-minute
45
set.
set and you went down to one song?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he goes, "You
Well,
guys
that's
got
kinda
one
shitty.
song," and I'm like, "Shit." So we started the one song, right? Microphone doesn't work. I'm like,
Oh.
it's working.
Oh man.
Oh.
It's
Oh no.
The engineer was
all
just
day
dicking
for
us.
No, no shit.
everybody else. That microphone worked, and all of a sudden we get up
You
there,
guys.
One song and you get one song you don't even sing.
one song, and I get no microphone because the stage was too small. So they did a build out on the front, and the lead singer was out in the front. So I went down there to use that mic. Well, they had cut that mic off because they were going to eliminate that for Quiet Riot, I think, or something. I don't know what they were going to do. But anyway, the mic did not work. So I'm up there singing, screaming and there's nothing coming out. We have no vocals to the one song that we're doing. And
And we got no sound check, nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You can't
No,
hear
there-
you can't hear shit.
there's nothing.
It
So-
was terrible.
I'm like, screw this, because they're like, use
It's
another mic.
literally
And
the
it's
shit
like,
in the stick.
yeah, I'm like,
Holy shit.
so I jump up
Yeah.
literally.
after the other song and I get on the other microphone and I'm like, fuck them, Troy, start another song, and we roll into a second song and we get, a few bars into that song, and all of a sudden the whole PA and everything, they just pulled the sliders down and cut us completely.
Wow.
And so I was a little pissed.
Fit of rage. Here it comes.
Yeah, so I had my rock star moment, and I threw my guitar into their shit and walked off stage.
And then out into the dirt. He takes his bass off and throws it out into
He
the.
does the rock star where he smashes shit.
I felt
Tim
like it.
smash.
I've done that before.
I was ready to start swinging that, and I'm like, oh no, I paid good money for this. And so when I threw it, it's like I tried not to damage it, but I wanted it to look dramatic.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
There was only one woman for the
Oh, that's the
job.
wrong one. Oh. Sorry. That was horrible. That was
Thanks,
horrible.
James.
That was totally that was way off, man. I tried to get
You need
the
to
one.
label.
There was here it is.
I was like,
There was only one man for the
That's what I
job.
was trying to get. And Tim threw his guitar to the crowd, into the dirt.
yes,
So,
he did.
I did get even with them later on.
Yeah,
Not quite
We
even,
extracted a little bit of revenge, and I don't know. I never heard anything about that.
Troy,
but I think they were pretty.
they were pretty
pretty
pissed.
disturbed.
Troy knew one of the security guards that were detailed to secure them, I guess. I don't know.
So Troy was with you guys at this
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was the three of us.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
3-piece.
Just the three of us.
Yep. Making music.
See?
You guys in sync.
And they, really, we had Tim's RV out there.
Yeah.
And they had an RV, which was
Right
like
next to us.
right next to us.
Quiet
Quiet
Riot.
Riot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They rented them.
Yeah.
They flew them in to Kalamazoo, was it? And then drove them to
Drove them to the show. They had an RV
and then
waiting
they had
for
an
them.
RV there.
So that was kind of their
Yeah.
green room. Or
Did you guys get to
whatever.
meet him by any chance?
I had no desire to meet him after that. I met him prior.
Tim was mad.
I met
It's
him.
the rum talking.
I met him prior to
I
it.
met the bass player for like a
It's
fleeting
the rum.
moment
Yeah.
before the.
Yeah, that's
Before
kind of
we
how it
went
was
on.
with me. And it's
Yeah.
like, they had no interest in, mingling with anybody. And
Really?
And
Bunch of
really,
assholes.
the,
huh?
the last
kinda weird.
guy
Really?
that was actually an original member was the drummer.
Yeah.
And
he's died. He's passed now.
yeah, he's died since then, but he was a prick. He was an he was just a
I met him. I met him. They are. They're not.
he
that
was
bunch of
just a
assholes.
fucking
Yeah, they were.
arrogant
They were.
prick. That
Yeah.
was all there was to it. Frankie Benelli.
Yep.
Yeah.
I met a couple of them.
Well, as
And
the
I
night
recognition.
progressed,
Oh, bro.
Yeah, I met a lot of people.
as the night progressed and the rum got lower, I decided to go check out their RV. And
And
while they were on stage,
I can only imagine what happened. You didn't piss on anything, did you?
no, I didn't. I didn't
No,
do
no.
anything.
Audrey, that was what I was thinking. Damn, I would have.
No, but they did have a nice stack of catered food that had just come in,
Oh, did you eat it?
waiting for them. So
all
when they got off
Italian
of the
stuff,
stove,
yeah.
when they got off stage, they had all this
It was on the rider. Yeah.
feast
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
show.
So here
They-
Tim
they
comes strolling
weren't
back
there when they
over to
got
the
back.
RV. Tim comes
Free
strolling
food.
back over to the RV and he goes, "Hey, you guys hungry?"
There you go, Tim.
Free food. It was just laying around.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from.
So in essence, we ate their fucking lunch.
One song. That's what we get for one song.
That's
now.
right.
That's right, buddy.
Free food.
Yeah, you want to be a prick?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Man, that's a good story, guys. Huh?
Oh, and the sound guy's RV was on the other side of us.
Really?
The guys running sound.
Yeah,
Did you take his food too?
They didn't have any food in their RV.
those guys suck.
And they wouldn't come near us because they thought we were going to kick their ass. is
Oh
what
yeah.
it
Oh,
Well,
I believe
actually,
it. I
at the
believe
end,
Oh, I would.
at
I
the
would.
end of the night,
Yeah.
I don't know what hit their RV, but he did come out, and I apologized, and I
Oh,
went in.
yes, we were throwing shit.
It was an empty rum bottle. I'm out.
It might have been.
Beer bottles or something. We were throwing shit. We were throwing shit over onto the top of their arm.
Oh, I believe it. I've seen some lot of weird shit like that.
And yelling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yelling and, "Hey, fuck you guys."
That's about the craziest. I mean,
That ain't bad though. That ain't bad for.
That's pretty
crazy
damn good,
story.
man.
Haven't had that many crazy stories. We're usually pretty mellow.
I
To that fit of rage.
Well,
That's
yeah,
right.
Till that
yeah.
rum goes down.
Yes, to the end of the rum.
The pirate
That's
came
right.
out in me.
Arr.
Yeah.
Oh, you-
Captain Jack took over.
yes.
Thug Life Certified.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, look at that. You got to do another one.
Thug life.
Tim stole food. They threw shit on top of the RV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's classic,
Oh,
man.
That's
classic.
That's classic. Classy and classic.
That happened. I mean, we were older then. When-
So you guys knew better.
Well, yeah, we should have known.
So you're
better,
telling me
but-
you won't do it again?
No, absolutely not. I'd probably be worse at this point. Because of the disrespect that was put up.
That was total disrespect.
But when I was young and I started in the Frenzy band with John Sturr, and he went on to fame and fortune, so to speak, and then came back same place he started, actually, before he died. And but the guys we had in Frenzy, we had John graduated with all these guys that were on the stage crew or stage craft class at Lakeshore High School,
Yeah.
right? So, and they were a couple years younger than me, also 2 or 3. And these guys were just crazy nutball pyros. They like to blow shit up and burn things, and
I can just picture shit.
so
like that.
well, and at that point, before we were actually just a when that started out, we were really just a outdoor party band. No bars would hire us because we were just not playing bar band material. You know, we were playing
What were you guys playing?
Kiss and Cheap Trick and
Yeah.
and Thin Lizzy and God, you know, anything that was not danceable and, you know, heavy guitar oriented.
Yeah.
You know, that was it. And none of the bars around here wanted anything to do with us. So we'd throw these outdoor parties back when you could get away with this. You know, we had a line, some guy we knew worked at the Hardings in Waterville, and he'd front us like 10 kegs of beer, right? And
That's a party.
That is a party.
well,
That's a
and
party.
10
we'd go all over Berrien County and post flyers on everybody. We go to the bars that wouldn't hire us and paper everybody's cars. You know, yeah, we're
Come to
having
the
a party out here on this place, this date.
Yeah.
And we made a lot of money, and it was all absolutely illegal, right? No liability insurance, no gathering permits.
That's the best kind of party. What the hell are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that's right. Well, that was the late 70s, you know.
I can still do that now.
And yeah, but you're, you know, running the risk of
You run a risk for anything.
doing some serious jail time. As the end of that came, when my brother had his graduation party and hired us out to play the Coloma Rodeo grounds, and some guy got drunk and drove his pickup truck through a crowd of people and killed a girl and
Oh shit.
broke her boyfriend's leg. And that
Wow.
was the end of anybody in Berrien County doing
Party foul.
anything
Yeah,
like
Big
that.
time.
The cops, we had one planned for later that year. It was going to be like at Millburg Speedway or some shit like that. We were going to do it with Bruce Carr Band, and the cops told us, if you do that, you're all going to jail. we're Berrien County will converge on you and lock that place down, and
Yeah.
you won't even step foot on that property.
Wow.
So that ended all that stuff. And my brother and the fairground or the rodeo ground owners and the other guy he put it on with, they got the shit suit out of him for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to go to court and testify that I didn't have anything, or the Frenzy Band did not have anything to do with the organization of this thing. We were just hired to play it, which is true. And otherwise they were going to try to sue us too, right? If we would have had something to do with putting this together, they would have tried to sue everybody in our band. So that's when we were forced to, we got a booking agency out of Lansing and started taking any job they would book us on, you know, because they're not going to give you the good bars first. You know, they have to send you out in all these shit jobs for, you know, to see if you're actually worthy of getting put into the paying places. So, you know, we played all over Michigan. I mean, Marquette, Sault Ste. Marie, Traverse City, Flint, you know, and they'd call us on a Wednesday. We were like a pickup thing, you know. They call us on a Wednesday and go, hey, you want to play Friday and Saturday in Flint? Yep. we'd go. Anyone they'd call us on. Then we started getting to where we try to arrange them so we could go out and play like Marquette, then go to Sault Ste. Marie, then come down to Charlevoix, and then go over to Traverse City. So we'd be out for a month, you know.
Just traveling.
Yeah, from one to one to one.
Yeah.
And they were, most of them all were like 5-night gigs. So, you know,
Awesome.
it was a lot of work.
That's awesome.
That's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of work. You were telling me about that. We talked earlier.
Those kind of jobs don't happen anymore. You know, it's one nighters.
Is it because people are less inclined to go see live bands, or
No, it's because people are less inclined to want to get busted for driving after they have a couple drinks.
Right.
Like the jackbooted Nazis here in St. Joe when you every night when you play Czars and everybody goes out and stands there and has a smoke during the band breaks. And in 10 minutes, 5 cop cars cruise past in front of Czars.
they tend to cops tend to get a little more I don't know. I won't say aggressive. But
We played a benefit at Mickey's sometime. I don't know, when was that? 5-6 years ago.
that's when they had the stage there, right?
Yeah, they were having metal things in there.
Yeah.
And I purposely didn't drink during the show because I knew that I'd have to drive home. And I left there, and by the time I hit the bridge light, one came past me this way, one came across that street back by Mickey's.
Yeah.
One came this way, one came across Park. And when I got down to the gas station down there at the end, another one came the other way. Like five cars in the time it took me to drive from Mickey's to the bridge.
You know what that means,
Right?
They have nothing to do. They have nothing to do.
Well, except for try to pick people off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you notice, up until maybe 5 years ago, when you'd play Czars, for the most part, you'd get the people would stay till 2:00.
Yeah.
You know, till last call. The last couple gigs we did down there after midnight.
Everybody's
Well, it's not because of the cops. It's more because
Well, yeah, it is. They want to get out of there.
no, because they're going to another bar that is more their age.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. I mean,
What are you trying to say here?
No.
No.
I might have to disagree
I'll
with you on
say
that one, because the crowd you guys bring in, they know you're going to be there.
Yeah.
And they'll stay there.
Well, half the crowd. I mean, with Czars, it's live music. Not everybody wants to listen to live music all night long.
So you think
True.
that younger crowds don't like to listen to live music, guys?
Not
I
all
mean,
night.
as
Not
far
all
as that
night.
goes?
I don't think that at all.
I don't think they want to listen to all night.
I think if they like your band and they're there specifically to see you,
Right.
then they will.
Stay in.
Most people are there to mingle, have fun, talk to their friends,
Right.
and listen
Pick up
to
girls.
music that they enjoy.
Yeah.
So if you're playing music that they enjoy, they'll stick around. And obviously, our format is a little more classic rock music.
right.
We're
Yeah.
geared toward an older
Yeah.
crowd.
So,
Exactly.
so yes, I can understand the younger crowd is going to want to go somewhere, and they're used to a DJ, and the DJ is going to play everything they want to hear.
Exactly.
Yep. And the girls can get out and dance and do what they want to do. They're there to have fun, and
If I had a choice,
there's
it would be
nothing
live
wrong with any of it. I mean,
Oh, not at all.
we're there for, we play the music that we enjoy playing.
Exactly.
I mean, we try and gear that towards as many people as we can.
Yeah.
and we play a wide variety of stuff.
But we really just play what we want to play.
Right. If we're going to slide
like
into
to
another
play.
genre of music or something along those lines, it's like we'll pick out a song that we actually like from that group.
Yeah.
Rather than, well, this is their most popular, we should play that one.
You know what really got me when I first started working there? I had no idea what live music really sounded like. Seriously, man.
I believe it. No, I believe it. I'm not laughing about it. I'm laughing
I'm
because
totally serious about this because I had a newfound respect for live music, and it was great.
That's because you never had Gary running.
Yes.
Captain Low End.
Just listening to like someone playing the bass guitar or somebody.
You have to respect somebody that can reproduce what you've been hearing on your radio or on a CD or whatever it is.
I've heard some of the most beautiful shit come out of that bar. Just listen to like guys like you, listen to you do a solo guitar thing. Just like even like Duke Tomato. That guy's old as shit.
All different genres. It doesn't matter what
dude,
it is.
I mean, it blew my mind what I was really missing as far as live music. And even down to country music. I hated country music for the longest time.
Those country music shows are fun. Ones they had.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never seen so many people have that much fun.
Oh, Jimmy Colford, Whiskey Highway.
Those
guys are.
Shout out to Jimmy.
They're phenomenal.
Great job,
dude. I mean, it blew my mind. For 7 years, I got to listen to great music. Even if it was like not even busy, I just got to listen to somebody play.
Yeah.
Well, so you see, then you could pay attention.
Yeah, I could actually go sit in front and just listen to somebody play, and it sounded so good.
See, I'm coming from both spectrums. I was a DJ, and I love live music. I rather listen to live music in a heartbeat because for a couple of reasons. One, the people are playing the music enjoy what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
They enjoy it.
Yeah.
They love it. And the other aspect is you get a different crowd every single time you're down there listening to live music. Might be a country band. You get all the country people. It might be you guys. You get a whole different crowd from one spec to another. And they're all down there to enjoy the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I see you guys pop up just to listen to music.
Oh yeah. I love going and listening to live music.
I don't very much.
Well, when you do,
I do once in a while. I'd go. I'd go.
I like how you answered it. I don't very much right now.
But when you do, I notice you're there.
I like this answer. I like this
James.
answer.
Give me a Budweiser.
Hey,
I have it ready for him, and it's ready to roll.
I don't even have to ask. You've got it poured as I'm walking up to the bar.
That's
the great bartender.
That's right.
Over the years, I've tried to trip him up, though. I'd
certified badass.
Yes.
I'd be trying to, I'd be on a kick where I was drinking something else.
Yeah.
Right. And
he'd trip me up.
He'd go Budweiser, and I'm like,
nah. Yeah.
So
I mean, there is not a place around here that is like Czars anymore. Czars is closed a little bit.
Sad it's closed.
There's no place that just does live music except a winery or
fucking hate it.
Something like that plays it for 4 hours tops. There's no place around here that does live music.
No.
Yep, and
that's the most.
I mean, you got to go to South Bend for it now.
That's the most depressing thing right now around this area.
That crowd down there and those bands have got that shit locked up.
That's what the last band played.
We tried for a long time to bust into that down there, and their locals have got those clubs locked out.
That's what Dartboard told us.
You can't.
Yeah.
That's what Dartboard told us.
Unless you got an in.
Yeah.
You're not getting in.
Well, and a lot of them they're on that thing where if you want to play there, you go sell tickets, right?
Oh, the pay to play.
Yeah. Well, it's not pay to play. You have to sell the tickets and draw the crowd.
Right.
And that's how you get paid. But
Oh, that's
if
brutal. I
you're
never
if you're
heard that
trying
one.
to pull, if you got a following here, you ain't gonna pull that following down to South Bend,
No.
right?
Right.
At 15,
Yeah,
at 10
yeah.
bucks a ticket, or
Yeah.
whatever,
I never
it's
did
tough.
get
I will
that
say that.
mentality
It's
of bar
really
owners
tough.
thinking the band is bringing the crowd, and I don't think Tom ever really had that philosophy with Czars.
No, he didn't.
It's live
I don't
music.
think so.
No,
If
he
you
loved
bring-
music.
Right. If you bring in quality music, live music, every single night, every single weekend, people know that it's going to be a quality band down
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
And it's like asking a chef to come in and eat at his restaurant every night, all his friends. It's like, no, if you're serving good food, people will come.
Well,
Exactly.
the one thing about what he did was he tried anybody that gave him a disc. He says, maybe I could squeeze you in that month. And he tried. And it was a good day or it was a bad day. He
it was
really
a
didn't care.
hit or miss type
Yeah,
of
he
deal.
really didn't care, but he loved the sound of music, and
Yeah.
he still does. He still
Oh, yeah.
drives to South Bend. He'll go to Kalamazoo area.
He'll go as
He
far
can go
as
anywhere.
North Carolina,
Yeah, to see
just
a band.
or Tennessee, just to
We've-
listen to live
band.
music.
We've taken a lot of people in there too and had them open for us
Yep.
to get the exposure. That was the way we used to do in the 70s. We'd go,
Yeah, I'll give you that. You guys did do that a lot.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's a
You
good
guys did a lot.
philosophy. It's like, okay, we've got our built-in crowd because we're from here,
Yeah.
and so we're going to have a built-in crowd coming to the show. If you're bringing in an out-of-town band, they could be the greatest band on earth, but nobody's heard of them around here,
Exactly.
and they're not going to have a crowd. I mean, I've gone down to Czars so many times, and I'm like, wow, this band is amazing.
Yep.
And there's 10 people standing there watching them.
Yep, I've been there
because
myself.
nobody
Seen that. I've
knows
seen
them.
that happen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
nobody
Seen that
knows
happen.
who they are. And it's like, fit them with somebody that's got a pull
See, I
already.
I can give you a great example of that. The band's called Brenna. Tom brought them down here right when they were starting up. They played like a Thursday night. Now they're playing casinos up in Grand Rapids area. They're playing Cadillac. They're playing Detroit, but they'll never come back down this way. The closest they'll come here is maybe Battle Creek or close to James's new word, Climax.
Climax.
Didn't they open?
Yeah, they opened for a band.
They opened for us, I think, didn't they?
I don't know. That
Yeah, I
name
think
doesn't
Ron
bring
Cummings.
No, it does. It rings a bell for
It
me.
was a 4-piece band. I mean, they were
Yeah,
they
he
were
brought
phenomenal.
them in, and
They played nothing but covers. Nothing but covers. I mean, the reason I always remember them is because it was the first band that nailed Prince. They
yeah.
they nailed it.
Really?
How hell I always remember them.
Did a girl sing it
No.
or a boy?
Oh, guy did.
A guy. I was gonna say, well, that's some high shit.
yeah, it is.
I mean, he nailed it. Like the reason I remember you guys all the time is not because I know you guys, but it's his stronghold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Stranglehold.
stronghold. Thank you. Your version of it is spot on. I mean, that I always remember that. You guys always end with it or get close to it. So
As much of it, yeah, I grew up with that. I have to say that, he is a great guitarist,
Ted
but-
Nugent.
but he's also a total asshole. I mean, now
He speaks his mind. He definitely Ted Nugent does speak his mind. I give
Yeah.
you that. He does speak his mind.
He's just a dick. I met him. All right. Number one, when I was working at the studio in Climax, we did the sync audio video to all of his hunt videos.
Oh, okay.
It was when he was producing, and he had like 15 of them. So we kept telling him, hey, keep, having us splice in all this old shit. Why don't you put something new out and let us, put that in with your your videos, and he's like, nah, fuck that. Just use the old stuff. Everybody knows that. And so he never would come in to the studio, he's just off-putting.
Dude, he is a trip though. I never met him, but I heard he's a trip though. I
Well,
heard he's
okay.
fun to hang out with.
So during that time period, I've always been a bow hunter, right? So he had 3 stores in Michigan. And I went and bought one of his bows that he was endorsing at the time, were Oneida bows. And I bought a Nugent Whackmaster, right? Yeah, I still have
Very
it.
funny words.
I've killed. Yeah, that was his thing. Whack them and stack them.
Yep. It's true though.
Yeah, it is. The Whackmaster. So, I went up to his store up there and bought this bow, and this was fucking like 1990, something like that. It was just, we were talking about a $600 bow, Then it wasn't cheap at that time, And the guy that ran the store said, hey, Ted's he was doing those whiplash bash things where he'd swing through Michigan and hit a whole bunch of towns in a row. So he said he's getting ready to do the 2-month swing, and then he always ended up at Cobo Hall on New Year's Eve. So he goes, he's doing Kalamazoo on this date. He said, you want to come to the show, and he says, just come to the back there. And this guy was one of his hunt managers, booked hunts for him. He says, you want to see the show? Just come back to the back there at Wings and tell him you're looking for me. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. And I went and knocked on the door, and some big burly security guy says, what the fuck do you want? You're not female. And I said, hey, is so-and-so told me to ask for him. And he said, oh, okay, come on. And he handed me off to one of the Nuge's assistants, who was a pretty beautiful young lady. And I don't know what she did. I don't know what her job title was, but she said, okay, you want to go up to the soundboard and watch a show. So I got to sit in the front of house booth at Wings, watch the whole show. And then she comes and gets me afterward, and she says, okay, I'll take you back and you can meet Ted. And so he's just getting ready to leave. Just out of the shower, soaking wet. And if you've never seen that guy, he's about 6'3". He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's just towering over me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I never realized how tall this guy was, and I'm like, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Great show. And he's like, yeah, thanks. Helps when you're the best. And I was so stunned. I
Helps
just,
when you're the best.
yeah. No, he says it helps when you're the best.
Bonafide badass.
And certified badass. Certified arrogant fucking. And I'm just like, I couldn't even think of anything to say. I just wanted to go, really? You really think you're the best? Because I hate to burst your bubble, but in your mind you may think that, but okay, and that was like the end of the conversation. I mean, it was over in what, 2 seconds, and I just thought about it all the way home. I'm just going, God, what an arrogant asshole. You know, I'm just like, dick.
What
know?
a dickhead.
What a dick. So, but like I said, you know, when he was in his prime, I'd say he covered probably 2 miles of 2 miles of stage in an hour set. I mean, they never stopped. I mean, he was back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, he did. He ran up and down that thing.
Total movement. I mean, there was
I say fuck Ted Nugent.
He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
That's for Ted Nugent.
Of course, I'd never say that to him. On the other hand, I still have to maintain that he is a fabulous guitarist.
Yeah.
Even now, he's 75, is he? Yeah, he's like something like that. He can still just play the shit out of it.
I forget how old I am. So
Yeah,
me too.
I'd like to forget, but
All right, guys, we're coming up on an hour and 20 minutes here.
wow.
The longest podcast I've done.
Well, this is as long as I've gone without a piss for.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. All right, guys, anything you want to give out to upcoming artists, guitarists, or whatever? Any advice you want to give them?
just don't give up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's not a short game.
right. It is. It's the long game, and it's all about perseverance. And
Yeah.
if that's what you really want out of your life is to play music,
Go after it.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
You're not gonna.
I mean, if
You're not gonna
select
get-
few get
You're
rich
not.
out of it.
Well,
you know?
yeah. If you're in it for the fame and the money, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Any
You should be in it to play music because you love to play music.
do you guys have any upcoming shows or anything you guys want to promote?
Actually, no, not Troy is rolling back into town as we speak, I'm sure. So we'll probably get some practice in to make sure, I don't know, we could book some things here and there, but I'm just kind of held off on, on any of the book. If anybody wants to book us, I mean, give us a call. I mean,
Is there a number they can reach you at?
Or a website or anything like that?
we do have our Facebook page.
Okay.
I don't know how to get there.
All of us have Facebook pages.
Yeah, but no, they can call my number, my office number for Spitali Heating and Air.
Oh,
Had to
there's a
drop
plug
that,
right
yeah.
there.
There you go.
There you
what I
go.
like to
That's what I've
see.
been waiting for.
I don't have to pay extra for that, do I?
No,
Or
there you go.
They
Not
they can contact any of us on Facebook, and
Yeah.
Okay.
and we do have a Fusion Facebook page.
Okay, you guys heard it loud and clear.
There you
They
go.
do have a Fusion Facebook page, so if you guys are interested in booking these guys are good. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate this.
Thanks for having us.
I think
Carl
it was
Hess,
a good. I think it was a
Tim
good time.
Spitali,
Um,
and my friend Joe Hill.
if I had a bathroom break, I could go for another hour.
Yeah, I
20.
could too. I'm trembling right now.
Two.
Told you.
Because that Mountain Dew and
camel my ass.
what? What?
You said you're like a
What'd you say about
camel.
my mama? All right, guys. Thanks for joining us at the Third Eye Truth Hearing Podcast. We appreciate it. We want to thank Karl Hess, Tim Spitali from Fusion. Thank Joe Hill for joining me again. It's been a pleasure.
James Gill for hosting.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
Thank you for having
He
me.
thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
That's not what I want to play.
That was the right one. though.
But he isn't.
Totally.
He
I
is in
have to get
control.
somebody else behind the scenes to do this for me.
He is in control.
I'm not. Apparently, I'm not in control. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out. I appreciate it. Everybody listening that's been listening for so far. This is Third Eye Truth M podcast once again, and we're gonna get out of here on that note. Oh, hit that button.
For more awesome content, like and subscribe now.
Oh shit, that's the wrong button again. I'm way off.
Thought he was in control.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. See you next time.